Jingle Jangle or integration. Where are we really going? This new moon in Virgo asks us to choose between distraction and integration, discerning the jingle jangle pull of escapism from the grounded wisdom of embodied living, inviting a remembrance of our own soul song beneath any disillusionment, calling us to refine our routines, release perfectionism, and find freedom in the rhythm of enough. Reminding us it is only through the union of spirit and body we can be guided into eclipse season with clarity, purpose, and a renewed devotion to creation itself. There comes a time to just get on with it. Scoop up a large portion of humble, or in my case, bakewell pie, and pick up where we left off. Coming back to what we've always known through a more relatable practice of understanding rather than escapism. No matter how well-meaning and constructive the distractions may have been. My own today have included stripping the bed, healing, clearing the gardens, posting a newsletter, cooking dinner for tonight, advertising several services in this one paragraph, and even treating myself to a coffee in the village. Once I was done completing what I had been avoiding. The new moon blog you're now reading or listening to, or so I had thought. Coming to me in the form of the Tambourine Man from Bob Dylan, the lyrical energy of this week's lunation is vast, to say the least. A trippy return to our own soul song that comes with the temptation of overcomplicating the essence and message being received. Inviting us all to move beyond the perfectionism and attachment of outdated narratives to our own purified ascension. Not only by bringing it all home as the only place we're going to, but the jingle jangle melody of this remembered consciousness. The truth is, it actually took the empty awareness of what I'd really been procrastinating against to show what I'd been lacking. Life, over my desire to understand what is going on. A much needed time out from myself, a walk in nature, a piece of cake, and reflection on how to direct the path I've always been encouraged to follow. By receiving intuitive information, converting it to applicable wisdom, and sharing it in a way that makes sense to everyday life. Through the continual, humbly, bringing of spirit, my own included, down to earth. An opportunity we will all face as we enter Virgo season on the 22nd, provided, of course, we can acknowledge the desire to control our emotions, overanalyzing their messages and instead feel into them for the journey we have walked, releasing in the process what no longer serves, simply by letting it, rather than ourselves, fade away. Easier said than done, especially as everything that has been gathered is relevant to the situations we may be facing. But there is a stark difference between understanding and wisdom, being integration. Something I, in my own waiting, have discovered through the many ways to prioritize the information received into a more defined knowing that all streamlines towards one thing. The way we are creating is expanding. This doesn't necessarily mean more. How we respond to this and from where will bring the clarity we are seeking. Through the hermit, fool, Pied Piper essence of the tambourine man within us, that has, up until now, in order to receive what we believe our actions are due, removed the inner child from the equation. A necessary step to see the often empty life that has ensued without this vibration, if we are to imagine anything different for 2026. Because it is only in balancing how we view endurance, or rather the light, we can assess the innocence and joy of any organizational skills now needed for ourselves. It isn't about letting go or going without, but moving through and beyond low worth and recognizing the beauty of all we offer in our own ability to receive it. as we from here naturally remove, in a harmonious rather than hushed or hurried reaction, the repetition that has caused any darkness in the first place. Simply by embodying our individual divine timing of direction for the necessary compromise the upcoming eclipse season will bring. That's not to say we won't be enticed by the magical rhythm of synchronicities, tempting tales regarding our previous intuitive wisdom, and at times longing to cling to them. After all, every step has made us who we are. But by opening up to wherever we are being guided through the parade of our own celebration, to expect more laughter and less shadow chasing, we can continue to clear through the smoke and mirror loops of the mind that permit anything else, and move on from the sorrow that twists us. However, this means accepting the allure of our own ideology for the constrained reality it has produced, embracing the desire for freedom, particularly from external demands on our creations, and the subsequent existential introspection of our own spiritual lives now needed. Only here can we hope to find the intrigue and recognition of poetic brilliance, not only in the musical momentum of Mr. Dylan, but the enigmatic way we too tell our stories. Would we follow ourselves through the tapestry of our own imagination? Can we transport our circumstances from chaos to a timely movement that not only aids but soothes the spirit beyond the tangible realms? The answer comes from how we express life, of course, through our own universal rhythm. As we listen, no matter how untraditional it may seem, for the invitation back to a guide so often ignored, ourselves and the physical body through which we experience everything. In this transient nature, power, or rather control, has the potential to dissolve into the void of a dreamlike state that deeper connections and consciousness can bring, preparing us to move beyond a world that has lost its vibrancy and purpose and surrendered to the sound of our own souls, allowing the transformative mundane to blur the tangible and imagined realms, as any clashes with our own demons provide us clarity and subsequent liberation from their attachments. In this way, the new moon in Virgo, like the tambourine man seeker, is a creative plea for transcendence into the unknown rhythm of our own sanctuary, through pure expression, reminding us that only in the vast essence of life, stripped from the constructs of time, culture, and personal structure, can we truly receive the freedom we seek, not from the societal chains, but the shackles of the self. Something we will all be made aware of, but given no real conclusion to until the second new moon in September. Both in the sign of the Hermit, much like the whole year, this initial encounter will provide only part of the story, reminding us that it is through walking with knowledge we receive its coherence. There is, however, an undeniable power placed at 0 degrees of Virgo this void opportunity is providing us. A chance to sense into the autonomy that comes from tracking any vision imprinted on us. Meaning, of course, we must determine from now through eclipse season the perception we see from within. Given the choice to decide who and what we follow, from social media to our own desires and realities, we are being encouraged to accept what this actually means through the responsibility of our own awareness. With Saturn and Neptune also active, we may feel emotionally blocked, especially when we remove the expectations of how we are supposed to see ourselves and the world we are undeniably conscious of creating. Leading us into a Sun in Virgo, square Uranus in Gemini, we can expect erratic awakenings from our own discomfort, particularly in areas of vulnerability and flexibility of decisions. Because the truth is, we know we could change things. And it is this authenticity, supported by Venus in Leo, that will open us further to the potential of more innovative, playful ways to transform our connections. Now is the time to organise and refine what we provide by paying better attention to our health for the foundational co-working environment it is. As Venus, opposite Pluto on the 27th, empowers us to take further charge of our lives by leading any ideas out into the communities we find ourselves building, at times through an imbalance of relationship dynamics. Routines avoided are ready to go to the next level with solid rooted ongoing growth through the necessary pursuit of our own wellness. There's no escaping this. With both the sun and moon aligned with the archetype of the whole year, never has there been a more fortuitous time to complete any outstanding debts, both emotionally, financially, karmically, and moreover with ourselves. By analytically reserving the at times critical collective, we can reconsider ways to enhance, develop, and organise our day-to-day lives. And rather than long to bypass them, recognise the less than mundane magic found in building healthy discernment, getting to work, completing activities, and taking joy in the little, often unacknowledged accomplishments. Only then can we hope to manage our path, or rather our place upon it, in a more mindful manner. As Pluto goes on to form a sextile with Saturn and Neptune, in turn forming a sextile with Uranus, there will be many jolts back to what needs our focus through any inattention felt. Aided by less than subtle correlations, particularly regarding healing and the perfection in everyday beauty, as we realign our loving attention back to the details at hand. This new moon isn't about turning our lives around or dramatic decisions, but more what we need to feel good, as we from here accept integrity for the intuitive direction it's always been. Hedonistic? Perhaps, but only in tidying up with vision over obsession, both in the external and internal patterns, can we accept the first and in truth only step needed to change them. A return home to the soul. Not to be seen as a passive action, the witnessing of both our light and dark has the potential to allow our dreams and plans to take practical shape, turning vague wishes into concrete considerations and chaos into manageable order, provided we can release the doubt of being enough in our offerings, connections, relationships, experiences, and ultimately inner sight. Allowing more clarity through communication, delving deeper beyond endurance-based narratives, we can expect misunderstandings to be resolved and long postponed actions finally made. Because August was always about returning to our hearts and connecting to our own essence, as was the whole year, which will slowly start to make sense in our feelings towards all that has happened, for the illumination they will bring, making our whole life begin to take on a newfound meaning and purpose, within necessary exploration of what it takes to assert ourselves and needs to ourselves. This dark phase, no matter the length, supports re-loving rather than revolting our existing routines, to appreciate health as the vital aspect within any service we provide, forming an opportunity to look daily at how we can become more devoted in this orientation by fully appreciating and prioritizing living. Known as the doorway to eclipse season, linked to the full moon in Pisces on the 7th and the following Virgo new moon, the upcoming lunations bring with it an invitation of renewal and initiation that will bridge the ethereal and material by anchoring the soul into the body as we re-emerge into the spiritual practice that is life itself. Liberating us from nitpicking by highlighting any beliefs around this and the impact had on our well-being, mindset, ability to heal, paths we find ourselves on, and the overall rhythm that builds it, we will increase our awareness to the effect this has in turn produced on and from within the collective, and reconnect to the joy of being and creating from the heart, expansive love-based actions towards any changes we wish to see. Balancing spontaneity through practicality, it is imagination that will become the purpose we came here to provide. Ensuring, with the support of the Regulus Stargate Portal or Lion's Heart on the 22nd, a healthier employment of our longings for the efficiency and strength needed to follow them. Artistic talents are likely to be amplified to get our lives back on track, particularly with Mercury now moving forward and Venus in Leo from the 25th. Also kissing Saturn, this planet of love, abundance, beauty, and physical desires, brings more stability, not only to our deepest aspirations, but the security of our relationship to them through their unequivocal acceptance. Going on to sextile Uranus on the 26th, Venus continues to bring forth a spicy adrenaline rush that, when trine Neptune, her higher octave, provides a great time for intimacy and contentment through a vast emotional-led vision. That opposing Pluto will feature in power struggles of jealousy, manipulation, and victimization if we don't release our fears. After all, all's fair in love and war, right? By the 28th, we will feel the collective energies of Uranus sextile Neptune. With the Great Awakener and even larger dissolver in the mix, any ideas regarding, in particular, spirituality and humanity will need to be more empathic in their perception. If we are to unite with our higher selves and the light required to take us through the rising, seasonal, timely darkness that will occur with eclipse season, and of course inevitably often from our own making. A trip indeed this new moon is, despite how it may be portrayed, all about empowerment, alignment, intention, and purpose, suggesting we move with commitment towards, with, and guided by our own truth. Strengthening the inner to deliver the outer, its greatest emphasis is to occupy our bodies more, allowing this natural rhythm to lead the way. As the planets continue to change and bring forth new eras in the sky around us, undoubtedly stirring a remembrance from within, we are encouraged to return continually to the center of our own resilience rather than avoid it. For the stability of direction and movement of streamlined focus that not only paved the way for 2025 and the emergence of our own light, but that will vibrationally take us into the year ahead. Occurring on the 23rd of August at 7:07 in the UK, the upcoming Black Moon in Virgo provides the numerical frequency of the Fool, High Priestess, Empress, Emperor, Hierophant, Chariot, Death, Temperance, and Hermit overall, inspiring us to feel into this time through integration, receiving the wisdom of our creations and allowing them to teach us the courage it takes to walk the soul's journey, as we from here transform any decisions needed concerning how we move forward through the routine of our own established reality. May we all realize only in taking responsibility for the life we came here to live can we be in service to what this now and perhaps has always looked like. In deepest munay, I ask you now, are you ready to let it all fade away? You know where I am. Take care. Kirsty.